I do want to note on this, on the ZFS right throttle. When you're running a storage protocol, the ZFS right throttle was a particularly interesting pain point. And one of the things that actually one of my previous employer in Exenta, we noticed with this distribution of times with tick, and one of the interesting quick tests was what happens when you hit high-res clock on. And actually, it turns out in storage serving mode, serving NFS, star, these things, we found it easier just to turn the darn thing off because we weren't worried about consuming local I/O consuming lots of RAM. But anyway, so what have I done? Let's see. I left Snorkel in 2010 as well. I started it at a storage company in Exenta, and fairly soon after I joined, seeing kind of the current state of affairs, I decided it was time that the community needed to do something. So I spent some hours coding up and fixing one of the gaps in the current Open Solaris code base, one of the closed pieces, particularly some chunks of libc around localization, and use that as the basis to found Illumos. So that was sort of my big accomplishment at the beginning. Since then, I've been doing a bunch of stuff in storage. I worked at Exenta for a while, built a team there, using ZFS, of course, and dtrace. But then we left. A few of us left Exenta, just found another company, Day Storage Systems. And again, we found ourselves using and falling to this technology base that we find so powerful. But we found that there's some things that we really liked about the Joyent model and what Joyent had done for compute, and felt that it was, it should be possible to do a similar thing for storage. And so that's what we set out to do. And I think, in what we've done, we've been able to build a product, and unfortunately, it's not available yet. But it really does show a kind of a virtual storage OS. We're using really ZFS dtrace. You'd expect that. And actually, we're doing some really cool things with dtrace and using that to generate some analytics in large scales. But also, we rely really heavily on Crossbow. There's some things when you put Crossbow in that mix, there's some really cool things you can do to virtualize a storage service above Crossbow and give you some unique abilities that I don't think I could do anywhere else. So that's kind of what we've been up to. Illumos as a community has been trundling on. I think the folks are building it. I mean, Theo over at Omni, big shout out to him. He's not here today, I don't think, is he? Joyent, Delphix, Exenta. I don't see anyone here from Exenta. And then there's a bunch of other parties using this technology, this code base, to really build commercially compelling products. And to me, that says a lot more than community adoption or community activity. What's really compelling is the commercial growth that this technology, this heritage that some of us helped create, and all of us benefit from. I think that's really the key story, the key thing here. So a big shout out to everybody. Thanks to everybody who's been a party to that, and I'm just looking forward to, we're now what? How many years is it now? 3 years?
3 years.
3 years old? Going on 3 years, something like that?
It's been 3 years since you announced it.
I'm looking for the next 13.
300?
I don't know, about 300. Yeah. So, that's right.
Cool. Thank you, Garrett. And I think from our perspective, the founding of Illumos was terrifically valuable. Illumos was started very shortly after like within days after I came to join, you know,
And while I was still technically at Sun.
well, Adam was still technically at Sun.
Conversations with Garrett.
Our man on the inside leaving a flower pot to indicate that he was ready to have a conversation with Garrett. But yeah, I mean, that's been really clutch, I think, for us. I think for we all knew that we wanted to go use these technologies going forward, but there were those key bits that were missing. Were arduous to get working implemented. So thank you very much, and thank you for launching, I think, what's been a very fruitful community, I think, for all of us. I think one of the things I love about our community is that everyone using it is actually doing something real with it. So, I mean, I think one of the things that's been very interesting to me, I don't know what you guys think about this, but the rate at which we are broken by upstream, which used to be extremely high, very, very high, to the point where we basically at Fishworks had to dedicate an engineer full-time to dealing with upstream breakage, essentially. And that has now dropped to a trickle of a trickle. I mean,
so a big shout out to Rich Lowe for that.
A huge shout out to Rich Lowe. Oh my God, St. Lowe. To Rich, and there have been a bunch of people, and I think everybody using it is using it to do something real, which means that, when you see fixes from us, they've been running in production for a while at Joint. We see fixes from Delphix. We know it's not something, it's something kind of in a workspace, something you're actually using. So it's been terrific. I think